So are you considering getting the Bilt card, but you're not a renter? I am right with you. I'm considering the Bilt card, and I'm a non-renter as well. So in this video, I'm going to review the Bilt card with a non-renter's kind of slant. So be sure to stay with me throughout the entire video because I'm going to go over a lot of features of the card that a lot of people don't really talk about. And on top of that, I'm going to go over some strategies that I see with this credit card that makes a non-renter like me really want to look at this card. So let's get started. Annual fee, there is none. One of the instant features of this credit card based upon how powerful the card can be. So what about intro bonus? No, there's not one. But let's hold that thought as we talk about a few other features about the card and what I will tell you about that intro bonus at the end. So let's talk about the multipliers. 3x on dining, 2x on travel, 1x on rent, and 1x on everything else. But there's also 5x on Lyft when using the card. So now those multipliers aren't that bad. They're pretty common that you could see from a lot of different other credit cards, but there'll be more to talk about with that as well as we continue through this video. Now, one thing you have to remember is that you need to use the card 5 times each statement period in order for the points to count. We're going to talk about that in the strategy portion, but definitely keep that in mind because we don't want to miss out on points for no good reason. So now we got to touch on rent. One, obviously the biggest feature about this credit card for so many Bilt card holders. You are able to use the Bilt card to pay your rent. You also get the points for your rent up to $100,000 per year. Now, can you imagine? That is over $8,000 a month in rent that you could be able to put on this credit card per month. And on top of that, you will not pay the transaction fee that so many people before Bilt would have to pay that might go from anywhere from 2 to 3+% on that rent. Now also keep in mind that this is only for your primary residence. You cannot use this credit card to pay rent for multiple places. It isn't that great. So let's touch on a couple of features of paying rent with the Bilt card that a lot of people don't know about. First, building credit with your rental payments. If your rental unit is part of the Bilt Alliance, which currently numbers over 3.5 million units, you can choose to have your rental payments be reported to the credit bureaus to improve your credit, which is an excellent feature at no cost to you. So let's talk about another feature not talked about much, Bilt Protect. It will allow you to still pay for your rent and get points even if you can't use your credit card because maybe it's close to being maxed out and you can't pay it. Now I'm sure you're asking, well, how does that end up happening? Well, I'll let you know. So if you connect your checking or your savings account to your Bilt account, and let's say that you've got a $5,000 credit limit, but you've got $3,000 worth of spending and your rent is $2,300. So now you know that you're not going to be able to pay the rent on the credit card because you would be tapped out. So what Bilt will do is they will basically pull the rent from your checking or savings account that you have attached to it, won't impact your credit limit on the credit card, but you still get the points related to the purchase. Now that's an amazing feature of the credit card. So we can see easily why renters would use the Bilt credit card. It's a no-brainer. But let's start talking about some of the features that aren't also talked about that are not rent related, but makes this card very powerful for anyone, even a non-renter like me. So this card comes with primary collision damage waiver. And if you're not aware of what that is, it's basically when you rent a vehicle, and a lot of credit cards will have collision damage waiver that might allow you to not have to pay for the collision damage waiver at a rental place. But a lot of them, unfortunately, are secondary, like a lot of American Express cards. But this card has primary. So you can be able to apply a claim to the Bilt credit card before you even have to talk to your insurance company. How about another feature? Cell phone protection. With cell phone protection, you are protected from damage or theft of the cell phone for the $25 deductible up to $800 per claim for a total of $1,600 per year. Let's talk about another excellent feature of the Bilt credit card, purchase security. If you purchase an item with the Bilt credit card and it is damaged or stolen within the first 90 days, you are actually covered for up to $10,000 per incident, up to $50,000 for the entire year. And actually, let me add on another feature, trip delay coverage. If you use the card to purchase your airfare, has to be round trip though, and you have a trip delay of 6 hours or more, you have trip delay coverage. Now, I'm not sure about you, but a credit card that has all 4 of these coverages are ones that I only see in my premium credit cards, like the Capital One, Venture X, or an American Express Platinum, although the American Express Platinum has only secondary collision damage waiver. It has features like this that can make a person like me as a non-renter really be enticed by the credit card. So now let's talk about some strategies, because once again, I'm not a renter, so I need to be able to see how many points I can really get out of this credit card to be able to use it when we get to the redemption part of this video. The first strategy begins with rent day. If you never heard about rent day related to Bilt, it is the first of every month, and that is when they allow the multipliers to be doubled. So instead of 3x for dining, it's 6x. Instead of travel for 2x, it's 4x. And when all other purchases are normally 1x, it goes to 2x. Now, rent doesn't change, it stays at 1x, but we have doubled all of those multipliers on rent day, and we need to keep that in mind. So when it comes to rent day, that is when I'm doing all my purchases, and it doesn't create an inconvenience in almost all cases. So let's talk about each of these multipliers. So dining at 6x, so why can't we take out the family or our significant other, or just take ourselves out on the first to utilize that 6x? And at 6x, that exceeds any other credit card I'm aware of for dining. So now let's take a look at travel on rent day at 4x. The beauty of this is that we can book hotels, airlines, rental cars, and cruises and get that rate just by booking directly with that agency, not a third party, but directly through that company. And because we're trying to get the best rates and prices that we can get, being able to do it on the first doesn't create us a problem, because we're going to be looking as far ahead as possible. And why not the first versus the third or the fifth to get that 4x? So then let's look at the everything else category, which now is going to be 2x on the first. Well, how about we do this? How about we pay for our insurance? Why don't we pay for our cable or our internet? That if we don't have a credit card that gets us 2x, let's use the Bilt credit card on the first and get that 2x for that. And at the same time, by doing that, we're going to get that 5 transaction minimum requirement all done on the first with the maximum amount of points we can get. Now, by being smart on making these purchases on the first, we are truly maximizing this credit card with these enhanced multipliers. So now let's not stop there. Let's talk about Bilt Dining. When it comes to Bilt Dining, it is a missed opportunity for a lot of people. You can actually earn up to 10x on purchases that you make at restaurants that are tied in with the Bilt Dining program. Now, Bilt Dining is offered in, I believe, 26 cities, which are listed here. Now, the only unfortunate thing in my particular case is I'm not in one of the Bilt Dining cities, but that's not going to stop me from being able to tell you how you can maximize the Bilt Dining credit. Now, if you're in one of the 26 cities, you have to look at the restaurants to see if there's anything that you're interested in. Now, it's already great that we might be able to earn up to 10x, and there could be specials at other times that might exceed 10x at the restaurant. So let's talk about another feature that a lot of people don't talk about related to Bilt Dining. It's great that we're going to get up to 10x in Bilt rewards by going to participating restaurant of Bilt Dining, but there is more that we can even do with that. And that additional benefit comes from utilizing the Bilt Wallet. I know, what do you mean by the Bilt Wallet? Well, let's talk about it. With the Bilt Wallet, you're able to attach other Visa, MasterCard, and American Express cards to the Bilt Wallet. And you can then use that Bilt Wallet to make purchases at the restaurant, and you would use that card and not the Bilt MasterCard. And so in a case where it's not rent day and you would only be getting 3x on dining, let's say that you have attached an American Express Gold card that is 4x. You're going to get the benefit of the American Express 4x points with American Express, and you still get the points through Bilt Rewards for 10x. So now me using the American Express Gold card as an example to use on the wallet is a very easy one. 4x on the American Express Gold card versus 3x. But how about if you have a credit card that has rotating categories? Maybe they might have a dining one that might exceed 4 or 5x or even more. You're then able to attach that card to your wallet and really truly maximize those points with the Bilt Dining program. So now that we've talked about these different strategies with Bilt on how we're going to utilize that rent day to maximize the multipliers, of how we're going to get to that 5 times of required use each billing period, and we talked about Bilt Dining as well as that Bilt Wallet to really maximize those points. We now need to talk about how we're going to redeem those points and why Bilt is so special, definitely to me, and should be to all people that have that card, whether you're a renter or not. So let's start with the value of what a Bilt point is worth. If you pay attention to the points guy and his valuation, yes, you have Citi, you have Capital One, you have American Express, and you have Chase. Bilt is completely new to this when you compare them to those 4. But the value that he assigns to Bilt is equal to Chase, just over 2 cents a point, which exceeds American Express, Citi, and Capital One. And so for every dollar and point that we get out of Bilt, we are actually getting better value than out of a lot of credit card programs, which makes Bilt very worthwhile to have. So when we look at what the value that Bilt has per point, we don't have to start anywhere else but the transfer partners. They have 13 airlines currently in 2 hotels, and it is an outstanding mixture of some airlines that have transfer partners in all of the other places. They have ones where they have some limited exclusivity that makes them special, and then we also have something that is exclusive compared to all of the other credit card issuers that we would normally utilize of American Express, Capital One, Chase, and Citi. So let's highlight a few of these transfer partners. How about American Airlines? Now, American Airlines is going to leave Bilt in June of 2024, but if any time before then, there are still opportunities to transfer Bilt points to American Airlines if you have a plan for it. And that is an outstanding option because as of right now, there are no other transfer partners from the credit card issuers that have a relationship with American Airlines, even the co-branded credit card that Citi has with them. And another interesting airline is Alaska. And Alaska has a lot of similarities to the outgoing American Airlines. Alaska, prior to Bilt, had no transfer partners of the major credit card issuers, which made that point value for Alaska miles very versatile but hard to get. And now Bilt has made it much easier for all of us to be able to accumulate these points to really get some sweet spots when it comes to Alaska Airlines. So let's take a moment and move away from the airlines, and let's talk about one of the hotel partners, Hyatt. Hyatt, until dealing with Bilt, had only worked with Chase, and that is one of the biggest reasons why Chase points are so valuable, because Hyatt is such a high value brand when it comes to points. Now we have Bilt, and a person like me, I only use my Chase points for Hyatt. Now there's the opportunity to get Bilt points and have the option of using those towards Hyatt. Very powerful. So when we talk about Bilt points, we really need to make sure we understand the 4-level tier system that Bilt uses, and that is Bilt Blue, Silver, Gold, and Platinum. So Blue is the first level, and anybody that is enrolled in Bilt Rewards automatically has Blue status, and that at least gets your foot in the door and does provide some additional bonuses from time to time when Bilt runs different promotions. So while we get our foot in the door with the Blue level tier, it's really once we get to these next 3 tiers that we've seen some outstanding redemptions when it comes to points. So the next 3 are Silver, which is achieved with either 50,000 points or $10,000 worth of spend. The next level is Gold with 125,000 points or $25,000 worth of spend. And the top tier is 200,000 points for Platinum or $50,000 worth of spend. So now, as you may have noticed, I've talked about a point level or a dollar level that is required to reach each of these levels. When it comes to the dollars, Bilt views it as fast track, and that is for any dollars that are spent on that credit card, not including rent, but almost every other type of spend that you do will count towards that dollar threshold to reach each level. So now when we look at the point component, points that count towards this does include the points that you accumulate through rent. The cash part does not, but the points do. So now as far as the points that I've mentioned that you need to get to each tier, if it's not the cash level, most points do count towards that. Courtesy points, referral points are a couple of examples that don't count towards it, but rent points do count towards your points. So while the cash value of your rent does not count towards the tier needed for the dollars, you can use it towards the points for the point portion of each tier. So for me, this information excites me because of the fact that I know I can be able to get these points by good strategy, by good usage of that card, and then be able to get to these tiers. But what makes the tiers so important and so valuable, especially to us that are in points and miles? So there is one thing I definitely want to cover, and it's something that I've seen, unfortunately, where people have been confused about it or just don't know, regardless if they have the Bilt credit card. And that's when it comes to status. When do you achieve it? How long is it good for? Because that is important information you need to know as we go through this of what you can redeem with having status. So Bilt breaks up the year into two parts: January 1st through June 30th and July 1st through December 31st. When it comes to the first part of January 1st through June 30th, the status that you have achieved by June 30th is good through January 31st of the next year. Now, when it comes to the second part of the year, July 1st through December 31st, the status that you achieve during that period is good for the remainder of that year and the entirety of the next year. That information is very important so you truly know what you are achieving and how long it lasts. One of the biggest items when it comes to status is actually something that's not even published as a standard benefit of having status, and that has actually been on rent day. In addition to the doubling of the multipliers that comes with rent day, we've actually seen a lot of cases where the Bilt program ends up identifying a particular transfer partner and you get some outstanding levels of redemption rates if you do it on that day based upon your status. So when I'm saying outstanding, I mean outstanding. If you've ever transferred points from Citi or Chase or Capital One or Amex, you commonly see 20%, 30%, and you may even see some cases where it's 40%, and that's considered high. Well, Bilt has taken it to a whole nother level. We have actually seen cases over the last few months where we have seen where just even being a blue level tier has gotten you 75% increase on the redemption for that particular transfer partner on rent day. We've seen the silver level be at 100%. We've seen gold at 125, and we've seen platinum reach all the way to 150%. Keep in mind, I'm saying that the great times with the regular credit card issuers has been 20, 30, and 40. We're starting at 75% for the blue level and getting all the way up over 100%. It is unheard of, and it makes it absolutely essential if you're in points and miles for the Bilt card in taking advantage of this, as long as they continue to do it. So as you can see, there are a lot of benefits to the Bilt credit card, whether you're a renter or not. But if you're in the points and miles game, you can definitely see where the Bilt credit card can provide overpowered benefits to us that are not seen anywhere else. And that's what makes me know that the Bilt credit card was right and why I ended up getting that credit card. All right, I haven't forgotten about our talk about the intro bonus. So there is not a stated intro bonus for this card, and it's not surprising. They're already losing money on the processing fee for rent, and thus that's probably the very good reason of why they don't have a stated intro bonus. Now notice I keep saying the term stated. And that the main reason why is there are a lot of people that have reported once they have gotten the card and activated it, they did get an email saying that they had 5 days to be able to spend on the card at 5 points. 1 base point and 4 bonus points per dollar for that 5-day with no cap. I also got that same deal when I got the credit card. So while there's no guarantee of this intro bonus, if you do get the card, definitely keep your eye out in your email for this offer, because it does seem to be pretty widespread without it being a guarantee. There are just absolutely no downsides to this credit card. No annual fee, great multipliers if used on rent day, Bilt Dining to maximize everyday points that are available to you, using the Bilt Wallet towards other credit cards that can provide you even more points, and then the redemptions through transfer partners that provide us an assortment that aren't seen anywhere else at redemption rates potentially on rent day that aren't covered anywhere else. The Bilt Credit Card is for any and everyone, and you definitely need to look at getting it. So if you want to see how Bilt can truly fit into a well-rounded points and miles portfolio, click on this video and I'll be able to show you even more.